So Pokemon Day happened. That day that Pokemon, celebrates its anniversary. I believe it was its 30th or 20th. I wasn't really paying attention. But it's Pokemon Day. We celebrating the day of Pokemon. And today we're gonna be talking about what was shown in the presents. I do want to preface this discussion that I do think that there is a little bit of disappointment in the air. I know that there was a big announcement for Pokemon Wind and Waves, which we're going to talk about later, but I do think there's a little bit of discernment towards what happened and what was shown. And this has become a reoccurring theme with Pokemon Directs that they really just kind of fumble a little bit. It really hit me when they showed that huge graphic of like, oh, this is everything that was announced. And it's like, it really felt like nothing was announced like outside of the Winds and Waves, because like all these games have already been announced or are already out and they're just adding small updates. Like, for real, who is keeping Pokemon Cafe in business? Like, who plays that game? Because I see that game in every single Pokemon Presents. It's probably been like 5 years now, and we're still on the Pokemon Cafe game. Like, we still hyping it up. Does people play that game? Because it's like, even the announcement, it's just like, oh yeah, a couple extra characters in your Pokemon Cafe, a couple extra characters in your Pokemon Unites. It's like, I get it. Like, I think the Pokemon Unite trailer was a lot more reasonable to me. And like, I like Pokemon Unite. I have not played it in ages, but I saw Zapdos. I like Zapdos. I might pick it up just to play Zapdos. That's fine. But like the Pokemon Cafe one has really just gotten under my skin. I think the same thing with Pokemon Masters. Like, I like that game too when it first came out. I just think it's one of those things where it's like mobile games really have a limit for me before I just kind of drop them, because it's like I don't like to pay money for those kind of games, so I wouldn't invest in it for long term. But when I picked it up and played it, I liked it. But it's getting to a point where it's like these don't need to be, considered major announcements. It just feels like they're trying to add to the runtime in a way that is like not meaningful. I'm not gonna be a Debbie Downer the whole time. I do want to note some positive things. They showed some more footage of Pokemon Champions. I like that trailer. My one issue with that trailer specifically is that I did want to see some gameplay, and instead of just like their kind of like super hyper edited cuts of the gameplay in between the actors, I would love to actually have taken up all that runtime to show off Pokemon Sleep and Pokemon Masters and given it just to show some footage of what the game's actually like when you're playing. I think that would be really cool. I know Wind and Waves is like, like this is the first announcement trailer. I understand why they aren't showing the gameplay yet, because they still have like a year of marketing out. But this game, Pokemon Champions, coming out soon. I really want to see more out of the UI design and really how the game plays. That little sound player thing that they showed at the beginning, I would actually buy that. I'm scared it's gonna be like $150 or like $100. I don't know if they announced the price of it, but I hope it's like a reasonable price, like like $30, $40, in a way where it's like, I could actually pick that up and not feeling like I'm like throwing a shit ton of money at it. Because the recent like Pokemon Lego things are like $450. I'm not doing it. That game Pokemon Pokopia, I thought the name was Poketopia. They should have called it Poketopia. In my opinion, Poketopia sounds cooler. And y'all can argue with me, Poketopia. But they call it Pokopia, so we're going with that. Pokopia, I like that game. I plan on buying it. Reminds me of like Minecraft mixed with Animal Crossing, and those are really, really fun games. And this is why I like Pokemon spin-offs, especially Pokemon spin-offs that are like real games and not mobile games. Because some of my favorite Pokemon games are not even in the mainline series. I know that like Pokemon Rangers, the Poke Park games, that like weird crossover with the Warriors on the DS. I forgot what it was called, but that was my shit. All these different kind of ways that they can make Pokemon a gameplay experience. I do want to see them make more. I am begging for more Pokemon spin-offs for the Nintendo Switch. I think that like I didn't pick up Pokemon Snap because it's like I'm the kind of gamer that doesn't really appeal to. I don't really care about that. And I played the original a little bit, and it was the same kind of vibe where it's like I actually did like the game, but I knew that it's like I'm not gonna be sitting here playing this a lot. So at the end of the day, it wasn't my cup of tea. But I love Pokemon spin-offs. I would love to see more of them because I'm tired of this mobile shit. Every single Pokemon Presents, it's like, okay, let's talk about our 10 mobile games that already exist that get like the smallest patch update. and instead that takes up like the entire runtime. And so at the end, it's like, okay, we only really get like 2, 3 announcements per presents. And it's like, okay, if they don't got the, the footage, they don't got the games to show off, that's fine. But I'd rather than put a little bit more depth into the things that they're showing that are actually kind of exciting. On a positive note, I'm super excited for Pokemon XD Gala Darkness and Fire Red and Leaf Green to release for the Nintendo Switch. These are games that I played as a child, so it really just brings me back to those memories. I think that is definitely worth the $20 price for me, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. I know people had issues with that, but I'm honestly not going to complain. To me, it's the cheapest and one of the best Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch. So honestly, I'm very excited about this. I don't play Pokemon Go, so we're gonna skip that one, but we're gonna talk about Pokemon Winds and Waves. Yeah, this is a very exciting announcement. I know there's been leaks about this like forever. I've been trying to avoid them, so this really felt like a first new look for me. Right off the bat, the game looks visually appealing. I didn't see any FPS issues, thank God. I really love how the game looks so far. Even the environment, the buildings, the Pokemon, like the style, I feel like they finally kind of found a place that Pokemon is kind of comfortable in. The shadows don't look like they're constantly breaking. That's a huge step up from ZA and Scarlet and Violet. We really don't know much about gameplay, how it's going to be, whether it's going to keep the turn-based system or kind of like that hybrid turn-based system, or the Legends Arceus where they attack you in the overworld and then you can kind of get into the turn-based system by engaging in combat. One thing that I noted was that he threw the Pokeball at the Pikachu without sending out his Pokemon, so they're clearly going to be keeping that same mechanic. I hope that the game kind of finds itself with either the Legends Arceus or the Legends ZA style of gameplay. I really prefer Legends Arceus out of any of the Switch titles. I think that bringing back the crafting mechanics of that game would bring a lot of life to, the exploration, and it makes it feel like, getting items and kind of resource building is a lot more important in that game than any other Pokemon game. I really like the starters. My husband already called the fire type one. I think that that's the best designed one, but the grass and the water one are cool too. So I'm trying to decide between those two. I know the water one looks like it's based off the knobtail gecko, very cool animal. The Pokemon itself, the face is kind of ugly, but it might grow on me. I think the evolution might be cool to it. We'll see. But I actually do really like the grass one. So right now, currently, I'm kind of leaning towards that one. But they all kind of find their niche and all have their own kind of like value to it. As long as they don't get on their 2 legs when they evolve, I will be happy. I forgot to mention the beginning when they showed off those 2 Pikachu forms. They are so bad. I really, really hate them. Like we saw that shit and it looked like AI. Like that looked AI generated. And like I think the female Pikachu had like makeup on. I was like, this is just too much. Not to mention they've given Pikachu forms with outfits before and they looked badass. So it was really disappointing to see this kind of step down in that regard. But it's probably going to be something that honestly I don't give a fuck about. I'm still getting this game. It's not going to hurt how I perceive the game. This is the announcement trailer, so there's really not much to talk about. I do think that one thing to note was the diving mechanic is coming back. I think that's going to be really cool. It's probably going to be tied to a specific mount or Pokemon. I really hope they bring back that kind of like Legends Arceus mount system where you switch between the Pokemon. I didn't mind the Scarlet and Violet it being all tied to one, but I do think for like lore reasons, it kind of adds a little bit more that it's like, okay, you need this skill set of different Pokemon to kind of create your rideable mounts. And so I hope that's the case. Or it could be like the HMs where it's like you just need like a water type Pokemon you can swim with. That would be really cool. I'd love to see that. I think that's everything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you enjoy your Pokemon Day Presents? I kind of enjoyed it. It was okay, but it's just like at a certain point I was just rolling my eyes like these damn mobile games. Just give it up. I'm not playing none of them. I actually recently dropped like Pokemon TCG Pocket a couple months ago. So at the end of the day, I'm not the demographic for this. I want to see more Pokemon spin-offs for the Nintendo Switch. Let's see if that happens in the future. Y'all have a great day.